put in the big man as Coach Joe Gibbs elects to gamble here. He's going to go for his first down. There they go. Otis Wansley, 39, comes in to block. 3 tight ends in the game. Walker, Didier, Warren. The power back, Riggins. Got enough horses to pull a wagon in there, Dick.
Ball is at the 42 of Miami, so this could be a play they talk about during the offseason.
Time is winding down in Super Bowl XVII, and Washington has been trailing the entire game. Hope for the franchise's first ever Super Bowl title is not lost, but with each second off the clock, it's dimming. It's Washington's ball. Just over 10 minutes left. 4th and inches on Miami's 43-yard line. The anticipation is thick in the Southern California air. The noise of over 103,000 fans surges.
I think everybody in the stadium, including the Miami, knew that was the play we were getting ready to run.
So it's 4th and 1. What are you going to do? You're going to run over the left side of the line. Everybody in the world's got to know that one. That's Jacoby and Grimm.
And after I called that and it was signaled in, I think I went straight to my knees, because there's those times as a coach, really, where your life kind of passes before your eyes.
In this scenario, with the stakes this high, there was only one man the ball was going to. This is Hail Tales, stories from Washington football history. Riggo's Run. Robert John Riggins always had a habit of standing out. Former Washington quarterback and Super Bowl champion Joe Theismann recalls.
John came with a sort of a reputation out of New York of being a little bit unique. I guess the word would be considered unique.
3-time Super Bowl champion and member of the Hogs, Donnie Warren, would have to agree.
He was kind of a free bird, you know. He danced by his own drum.
So would Hall of Fame head coach Joe Gibbs.
He was quite the character.
Riggins had striking haircuts. He could grow an afro, rocked a mohawk for a little while.
He's one of a kind.
3-time Super Bowl champion and Hall of Fame O-lineman Russ Grimm.
Probably the toughest guy I've ever played with. I mean, he wouldn't run out of bounds. He always said, they don't pay me to run out of bounds. And then he says, number 2, it prolongs the time in the game, and that's that much longer until I get a cold one. So we like that.
He was a showman.
Super Bowl winning general manager Charlie Casserly.
I can't tell you some of the stories. We can't have them on tape.
Riggins loved to ride motorcycles.
Very first time I saw him, very first time in camp at Carlisle, he had a mohawk from his days in the Jets, and number 1, that sticks out, you know. And then number 2, he had these high top cleats that were basically illegal because they had the metal spikes on the bottom of them, and everybody was like going, who is this dude, you know?
He slept in a shed during preseason of his rookie year with the Jets.
You never knew what the guy might do now. So, but I think we all loved him.
I guess I was starved for attention.
The showman himself, Super Bowl champion and Hall of Fame running back, John Riggins.
I mean, I have to be honest about it. I don't know, because there's nothing I like better. Well, I guess the first thing I like is applause. You know, you get, you know, that's pretty cool. But laughter would be the next thing behind that. And I think I've always had a pretty good sense of humor. And if you know me very well at all, you know that I'm always going for the laugh. I don't like to take things too serious. Obviously, there are things you have to, but the further I stay away from, the happier I am. But yeah, I'm guessing. I mean, if I was sitting with a shrink, I'm thinking he'd say, well, I think you, and there's a little bit of truth in this. I had an older brother who's a great athlete, and my dad idolized him, and at the same time, I was good. and didn't seem, I'm sure in my mind, didn't quite get the kind of attention that I deserved. So I don't know, but it was always, but I always like, I don't know, there's that part of me that I suppose the attention's part of it, but it's also eventually everything I do is to make people feel better and or to have a laugh. So I think that's the motivation behind it, but obviously attention goes with it. And eventually applause if you do it right.
The antics were always paired with elite ability. Riggins was a record setter at the University of Kansas, a first-round pick in the 1971 draft by the New York Jets. During his first seasons in the league, he shows his raw power and flashes brilliance.
Rookie runner John Riggins then rampaged 25 yards to the Kansas City 4.
If there had been stop signs in his birthplace of Centralia, Kansas, a small town of 500 people, John Riggins would probably have run through them.
When Riggins is right in mind and body, there's very little that can stop him.
And with Emerson Boozer out, Namath simply handed the ball to John Riggins. The 230-pound fullback from Kansas ran the ball 3 consecutive times for huge chunks of yardage through one of the game's greatest ground defenses.
He leads the Jets in rushing yards during his rookie year.
Number 44, second-year man John Riggins began his quest for 1,000 yards by ripping off 125 yards.
In 1975, he becomes the first Jet to rush for 1,000 yards.
Sophomore John Riggins, voted the Jets' most valuable player, a symphony in strength, who with Boozer became the first tandem ever to gain 150 yards each in one game. The Jets' backfield should be solid for years to come.
But Riggins is never the centerpiece.
At that point in time, Joe Namath and Muhammad Ali were by far the 2 biggest names in sports across the country. But at the same time, I think that it served me well because of the education I got by being in New York and seeing what a real superstar and how people react and all this stuff. So, it was to my advantage, but I also realized that as long as Joe was there, and he was the name on the marquee, we were all part of the cast of thousands when they did the biblical epics. I realized that this wasn't going to work out well for me because I was never going to get the pay grade I thought I deserved based on what I was going to be allowed to do.
There is a level of discontentment as he heads into the 1975 season.
So it just turned out quite by accident, my 5th year with the Jets, I played out my option, which you look back on it and had some other things not happen, wouldn't have been a very smart thing to do because I would have played out my option. We'd still had to gone through what they called the Rozelle rule back in those days, which if I'd have went to another team, then Pete Rozelle, who was the commissioner at the time, would have determined what kind of compensation that other team got. Well, let's just say it was the Oakland Raiders. I don't think Al Davis would have given up 2 first-round draft picks so I could sign with him. So that was basically chilled any kind of free agency. It was really, pardon my expression, the way the league looked at it back then, or the way the league was able to pull it off. But what happened was there was a judge, and I believe it was in Minnesota, that declared the Rozelle rule illegal. And so for about, I don't know, maybe 90 days, 60 to 90 days, their window opened up of absolute, complete free agency, unlike it, just like you were coming out of college. And so at that point in time, I traveled around the country and went to different places and decided Washington was where I would want to continue my career.
June 11th, 1976, New York. The diminishing Big Apple suffered another loss yesterday. John Riggins, the Jet fullback, who had become a free agent, signed a long-term agreement with the Washington Redskins that will have repercussions around the National Football League. Riggins had been seeking a salary of $300,000 a year over 5 seasons, and the assumption is that he received something close to that from Allen.
Mark Mosley, Super Bowl champion and still the only kicker to ever win the NFL MVP award.
We kind of knew what we were getting up to a point. We didn't realize just how how good he really was until he came and started working into our offense.
I suppose that, for me, that it felt like a good fit. As it turns out, it really wasn't a very good fit in the beginning. As, I was, for the first 2 years here, I was a blocking back, which kind of put me on my ear, to tell you the truth. But hey, it was what it was. I got paid. They were paying me what I asked, so I figured, well, okay, this is what I got to do.
George Allen is the head coach during Riggins' first 2 seasons in Washington.
I have to say, George Allen was a defensive coach. That's where my personal opinion is where his pride was. The offense was throwaway. In his mind, in order of preference, defense, special teams, and offense don't go out and screw it up. The defense and special teams will win. And I think that, the fans, he brought a winner here. He did win, but after a while you go, God, we're winning like 7-6. This is not a lot of fun to go watch these games.
There's a coaching change. Jack Pardee is at the helm. Riggins produces his first 1,000-yard seasons for Washington in 78 and 79. He's used differently, starts to score more.
When Allen left, and my running back coach, who was Joe Walton, he became the offensive coordinator, and Joe had an appreciation perhaps for my talent, and so I had a couple of pretty good years.
He's showing what a difference-making, tough ball carrier he can be.
I'll never forget, we were playing in Detroit. We were playing the Lions. It was a goal line situation, and there was a defensive back. It was the same scenario we talked about. There was a defensive back, and he hit this guy in the chest, but this guy's helmet pops up in the air. And I'm thinking, my God, he knocked his head off. John hit him so hard, he knocked his head off. But that was the kind of power that he had.
Look at Riggins, straighten him up. Oh, he puts him on his back, knocks his helmet off.
I mean, I got some stories that are unbelievable. This will sum Riggo up pretty good. I blocked down, ended up getting a good push on my guy, and Russ kicked out, and I ended up on the ground. And I looked up, and I saw Riggo's backside running through the hole, and there was only one guy there, and that was Herm Edwards. And his eyes got about as big as saucers. You could tell he did not know how to tackle this cat, because you could see going through his mind, he was going, do I tackle this guy high and get killed and he just throws me? Do I tackle him low where he's got all his strength and he just, knocks me back, knocks me out? And what do you think he did? He jumps out of the way and grabs him by the back of the shoulder pads and just holds on. Riggo's dragging him about 7, 8, 10 yards until the cavalry caught up, finally tackled him. But the guy, he was an absolute threat to defensive backs. I mean, you couldn't tackle a cat. No way.
Riggins is a battering ram who challenges and punishes a defense. For him, the shortest distance between 6 points is a straight line, not cross-country.
Riggins down the sideline, barrels over Johnny Johnson. To pick up a 4. Inside hand, Riggins gets out, runs over people for a first down.
Blackwood on his back, Riggins over the top. That's a tough sight when you see a diesel. I guess that's his nickname, the diesel, coming through a hole, and you're the first one to meet.
With Russ Grimm out in front of him, Riggins gets his 6th rushing touchdown of the year.
Right here, watch as Riggins goes through. He just runs right over the middle linebacker, Bob Brunig. Watch Brunig here, number 53. He reads it, he sees it, takes on the guard, takes on Riggins. Riggins says, I'm having none of that. Boom! Right into the end zone.
The strength coach told me after a game, we get back in the middle of the night, he wants to go in for a workout. He goes in for a workout in the middle of the night. So these are things that, don't make headlines. But the guy had a great work ethic.
The talent, the hard work, the right pieces around him. It's all seeming to come together in 1979. Washington is just one win away from making the playoffs.
When I got into the league, I think my one very humble desire or goal was to play in the Super Bowl. That's all I wanted to do, just be able to play in the Super Bowl. I wasn't worried about winning it. Just wanted to be there.
Here, Washington had a chance to give itself great postseason positioning.
And so when we went down to Dallas in '79, last game of the season, and had we won that game, we would have won the division and we would have had the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And of course, we're up like 13 points with a couple minutes to go. We lose the game. And it's kind of like, God, I think that was Last Chance Saloon. I just missed it. We missed it by that much.
We blow 2 17-point leads in the game. Think about that now, okay? And we lose the game. I mean, this is a stab in the heart. And what made it even worse, if it could be any worse, Harvey Martin, their defensive end, walks in the locker room and throws a bunch of flowers in the locker room on the floor. Okay, somebody had sent him these flowers, and it was like doomsday, you're going to lose. Well, none of us sent him the flowers. The Cowboys probably sent him the flowers, and he told them it came from Washington. See? So anyway, I've heard him say he was really down. It really hit him hard.
I think it just crushed him. Basically you say, what else can I do? What else could I do? And I think he maybe had reached the point, again, this is conjecture, he may have reached the point where I don't know if there's anything more I can do.
I figured, well, I gave it a shot. And, at that point I'd played for 9 years, and, you got to kind of know that what you're doing for a living ain't really good for your health. So, I was thinking, well, maybe it's time to pack it in.
It just so happens that, as those thoughts are brewing, so is the matter of his contract. Once again.
But if they want to pay me a little extra, I'll reconsider.
Riggins and the team can't come to an agreement. That, in combination with the sense of doing all he could, his career running its course, leads him to sitting out.
September 1st, 1980. The Redskins' holdout situation ended in dramatic fashion yesterday when they placed fullback John Riggins on the NFL retired list. By having his name put on the retired left camp category, Riggins now will not be able to play for the Redskins or any other league team this season, nor will he be paid. Riggins, speaking from his home in Lawrence, Kansas, said, quote, "The Redskins finally have done what I asked to do twice. I feel comfortable with my retirement. I feel convinced I'm right. Football isn't fun for me anymore. It would have been futile for me to play this season. This is really the best for the team. If I had come in and played without having my heart in it, it would have been very, very hard. I'm glad it's over, but it's really been over for me for weeks."
He says it's over. So do teammates.
It was a big shock and a big loss because so much of what we did was built through John and around John and through John because of his ability to be able to run the football.
I thought it was over. That's for sure.
General Manager Bobby Beathard and Coach Pardee are turning the page. Is this the end of John Riggins?
I'm Coach Joe Gibbs.
January 13th, 1981. Joe Gibbs, San Diego Chargers offensive coordinator, was hired as the new head coach of the Washington Redskins after a 3.5-hour meeting last night in New York with owner Jack Kent Cooke and general manager Bobby Beathard. Quote, "I have confidence that Joe will provide the Redskins fans with a team that will stir the imagination, win or lose," Cooke said. Gibbs, 40, will replace Jack Pardee, who was fired by Cooke 8 days ago.
Well, the very first thing that happened to me, getting the job, trying to get the coaches and everything settled. But during those first few weeks, people kept coming to me and saying, it'd be great to get John Riggins back here.
Coach Gibbs knew what we had. He knew we needed his type of offense. We needed that big running back.
So I always kind of tell the funny part of it. I say, he set out the year before and got everybody fired. So I didn't want to get fired.
when Joe Gibbs, he went and actually physically took the trip down there and met the guy.
Gibbs goes right out to meet him out at his home.
Really? Without saying much to anybody, I just got a ticket to Lawrence, Kansas. And I just flew, and I made up my mind I was going to go see him. And so that enters into the first time I met John in the story. So I land in Lawrence. I go down to the very first gas station. I said, "Can you tell me where John Riggins lives?" Everybody in Lawrence, Kansas knew where John Riggins lived. All-American at Kansas, and all that he had done in football. And so they're in the state and with the Jets, and with the Redskins. So get directions out down a dirt road. I pull up back to the farmhouse, and I laugh because to this day I laugh when I talk to John, because when first time I lay eyes on him, he's coming across the courtyard. It's him and his friend. They both got camouflaged outfit on. They've been hunting. And he had a beer can in each hand.
He comes to the back door and he knocks on the door and he says, "Hey, it's Joe Gibbs. Hey, come on in, Joe. I got one for you and one for me." He goes, "Well, I don't drink." And I said, "That's okay. I'll drink yours." And I did.
That's two different personalities between Coach Gibbs and John Riggins.
I thought that's kind of unusual. A guy meeting his coach and he's got a beer can in both hands. So we go in and sit down at the table, and to be quite truthful, the first part of the conversation, I'm not getting anything back. It's not particularly friendly. I don't kind of know where I am. I go, man, this guy's. So with that feeling, I just figured, what the heck? I took off on my sales pitch, a new coach. I said, "John, new offense." Talked a little bit about that. I said, "Put you in the backfield." I said, "Hey, I'm going to give you the ball a bunch." And so I get the sales pitch going. I'm not getting hardly anything back.
Well, personally, I just assumed Joe was another run-of-the-mill coaches that I felt like I'd been playing for my entire career. So I wasn't moved one way or the other, really.
The very first meaningful thing I think John said to me, he leaned across the table. I always remember this. And he goes, "You need to get me back there. I'll make you famous."
He looks at him, he says, "Listen, you need me a heck of a lot more than I need you."
I remember telling him, and of course I didn't mean this, but I said, "Oh, you're going to, you think of stuff to say. You say, oh, you're going to be a great coach with or without John Riggins." And and of course I can see where he was coming from completely, because I've heard his side of the story. That he was with an egomaniac.
So I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, you got the ego on this guy. I said, I'm going to get stuck coaching somebody that's an egomaniac.
I'm not going to say he was wrong.
And I figured, what the heck? I finished the sales pitch, and I'm starting to think, what can I do with this? I'm going to get stuck coaching somebody that, I kind of heard all kinds of things about John. And so I'm thinking through my mind on everything, like, hey, I need to get this guy back, and should we try and trade him? What should we do? Seems like he's hard to handle.
It wasn't up to for me at that point, because I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. But at the same time, basically from a financial standpoint, I kind of looked, and I didn't really plan that far down the road. I kind of think I got to go back and play football.
So I flew back to Washington. 2 days later, John calls me, and he goes, "Hey, Joe," he said, "I made up my mind. I'm coming back. I'm going to play next year." And so I went, yes, perfect. I get the guy back. I said, this is great. I said, I'm still thinking in my mind, maybe it's something, if he's hard to handle, I can trade him. At least we got value here. And so all of a sudden he goes, the only thing I won't put in my contract is a no trade clause. And so I always remember that. And so that was kind of the original getting John back. I said, this might be something that's kind of hard to handle, but I do believe and getting him back was such a huge deal.
Riggins says he's ready to play. After this morning's workout, he talked about his reasons for returning to the Redskins.
I'll start off by saying I'm bored, I'm broke, and I'm back.
It was odd. It felt odd putting shoulder pads and thigh shells and knee pads. It wasn't like it had been before. It took a while to get used to that stuff.
Before long, training camp, preseason games, Riggins is back in the groove.
Then all of a sudden, I think it was like our third preseason game. I mean, you could see it. He started. He had great feet for being such a big, powerful person.
In this return for the 1981 season, Riggins' remarkable running abilities are paired with a fresh look force in the trenches.
Washington had always been known with over the hill gang, a lot of older players with George Allen and Pardee and stuff like that. And so, I mean, we got there, and the next thing you know, we started 4 rookies up front.
That first season under head coach Joe Gibbs does not start off well.
He had to learn a lot of things, but he's always said he started at 0-5. He thought he was going to get fired.
This is where I have to give him a tremendous amount of credit because he'd come from the West Coast. Don Coryell, who was the head coach in San Diego while he was the offensive coordinator, he wanted to bring that offense back to Washington, D.C. And the reason I give him so much credit is we lost the first 5 games. And for him, and I believe Joe Bugle probably had something to do with this, and I think Dan Henning, I'm sure they must have said, Joe, you don't have the players to do that offense. You've got to change things around. And I think he listened to it because he had these young offensive linemen, and they switched kind of the way things were done here. In biology, the organism that adapts survives. Joe Gibbs adapted, and he survived it. Well, he did more than just survive.
October 20th, 1981. Joe Gibbs, hired as the Redskins coach large in part because of his success with San Diego's aggressive passing offense, found himself in the strange position yesterday of defending his decisions the last 2 weeks to run more and throw less. Much less. Quote, "We're trying to play to our strengths. I want to do what we do best. If the best thing for us to do was throw the ball, and if our team was best suited to throwing the ball, then we would. It's simply what we feel we can do best, to get the ball in the hands of the best players. A coach would be crazy not to try to let Joe Washington and John Riggins handle the ball a lot. They are our most productive people right now, and the line is coming off of the ball."
He converted him because we had a one-back offense, and we were using a tight end, a basic wide tight end, which was more a blocker, and then an H-back, which was the guy, Clint Didier and guys like that, Rick Walker, they were more pass catchers and stuff like that. He transformed Riggo into that tailback, and sure enough, this dude was one of the best short yardage and goal line backs I've ever seen, for sure.
It was interesting the way it was put together. Joe, first of all, was a genius, and I don't throw that term around very, very easily for people, but I think he's one of the men that, was one of those innovations in the game where we had a 2 tight end offense, and John was our bell cow. John was the guy that everything ran through. Our offensive line and John. Our formations were set up to give him an opportunity to get one-on-one with defensive backs. Our blocking schemes were set up to get him with some people in front of him. He set the tone for everything. If John went well, we went well. My job was basically to keep the chains moving. It would be 3rd and 3. I'd have to get the first down to give us a chance to get John back in. Get down to the red zone, and then Joe would perform his magic and create plays and opportunities for us. And then sometimes we would just line up and knock people off the ball. Joe Bugle, our offensive line coach, in meetings, when we put goal line and short yardage in, Joe would basically say, we can block this guy, this guy, this guy. We're not going to block this guy. John, he's yours. And 10 out of 10 times, they wouldn't stop him. He'd just run over him.
The chemistry between Riggins and the men who blocked for him isn't just forged on the field.
He actually hung out. We had the famous 5 o'clock club and stuff like that. He hung out with the offensive line a lot.
John was, he ended up being the president of 5 o'clock club. which is another off-field issue that we had. But, I mean, he kind of took us under his wing because we were all young guys.
Despite the poor start, Washington finishes 8-8 that 81 season. Though they had once again missed out on the playoffs, there is a lot of optimism about the future. And as the 1982 season gets underway, it seems a trophy in the nation's capital might be within reach sooner rather than later.
We knew we had a defense that could play with any offense.
The defense, which went on to allow an NFL low 14.2 points per game, included stars such as Dave Butts.
You look at the massive hands and arms of Dave Butts, 6'7" and 295.
Dave Butts has had such a spectacular day. That big guy, 300 pounds, 6'7", 6'8". He's been in those trenches a long time.
Neil Olkowitz.
He's hit and tackled by Olkowitz.
And Dexter Manley.
White is down and down hard. Dexter Manley.
Going nowhere. Dexter Manley pursues and gets it and then tells him about it.
Kicker Mark Mosley is showing he's the best out there at his position.
It's up long enough. It's good. Mark Mosley's toe is sent into overtime, and Mark Mosley's toe has won it in overtime.
The receiving core packs a punch.
It's back to Theismann. Lets it go deep. He's got Charlie Brown down there well covered. He makes the catch at the 5 and dives to the 2. Charlie Brown, what an incredible catch.
But the offensive identity revolves mainly around the run game and the hogs.
When we could throw it if we have to, but I mean to just grind it out and, you know, kind of force our way down the field 4 or 5 yards at a clip, that was our forte back then.
It was a ground and pound. This was Riggo right, Riggo left, Riggo up the middle. And if you can stop us, stop us. If you can't, you can't. And we kind of prided ourselves on that.
Our game plan was built around John's ability to run the football. If we ran the football the way we thought we could, I think we started to believe that nobody could beat us.
Washington is firing on all cylinders.
It became, for me, not a question of whether we'd win football games. When we sat down and put game plans in, the question was how many points were we going to score. But everything started with John. I mean, Joe just developed the game around him. We had staple runs that we would run all the time. And it was like the old Vince Lombardi time. We're going to run left, we're going to run right. No mystery. Russ and Joe were going to pull, or else Mark and George were going to knock them off the ball.
The thing that Joe Gibbs did the best was he blended beer drinkers, family guys, Bible toters. He blended them all together where when it comes Sunday, we played for each other. And I mean, that's the biggest thing.
In the strike-shortened 1982 season, the Burgundy and Gold go 8-1, finishing first in the NFC East and making the playoffs.
I went out to the park the day after we played St. Louis. That was the last regular season game in the 1982 season. And on the way out there, I realized, because we had the home field advantage, and all of a sudden, I was thinking in '79, it was repeating itself a couple, 3 years later. And I'm thinking to myself, all the possibilities that can happen. And I literally was getting goosebumps driving to the park. So I walk in, and right between the equipment room, the locker room for the players, coach's locker room, and the showers, there was a drinking fountain. Joe Bugle just happened to be there. Now, Joe Bugle and Don Bro, my running back coach, Joe was the offensive line coach, obviously. I always used, every once in a while during the week, I'd go, Buggs, I'm ready. And he always tickled me because he'd get that laugh like that dog on a morning cartoon. It was just real dry laugh. And he'd go, really, Riggo? Really? You want the ball? So I told him I went in there and I looked at him, and it was the same deal for me. I was going, hey, Joe, I'm the guy. I'm ready to pull the wagon. I'm going to make it happen. And he gave me a look I'd never seen before. He was completely deadpan. And he was almost angry with me. And he said, don't tell me, go and tell the old man, meaning Gibbs. And he caught me so far off guard, I'm going, oh, that ain't the way this works, Joe. You're supposed to laugh, and we have a good moment here. And in that moment, I realized, I thought, you know what? Can't hurt. Why not? Because and I don't know if I sensed that, and maybe I did, that this was the opportunity that I'd waited for, that I'd wished for when I got into the league. And maybe in those moments, it's been so long ago, maybe I realized, you know, it's like when they say in a wedding, is there anybody who has an objection to this, you know, step forward or forever hold your peace. If I didn't do something, I would always probably go, gee, I wonder if I'd have went in. So that's when I told Joe to give me the ball. I said, I'm the guy. And I was dead serious at the time. I meant it. And he said, oh, that's good to know, John. And I kind of thought, well, that wasn't what I thought he would say. I thought maybe we'd get into a conversation about it.
I think I remember John going into Coach Gibbs's office and says, hey, load me up. He says, I want to carry the load. And we started running the ball probably more, than we did average during the season.
Because of the strike, we played 3 playoff games before we got to the Super Bowl. So you played all the games going through. And it became more and more, well, how are we going to get John the ball? What are we going to do? How are we going to block it up front?
In the first round of playoffs, Washington topples Detroit 31-7 at RFK Stadium. Receiver Alvin Garrett scores 3 touchdowns, and Riggins, just like he asks, gets the ball a lot.
January 9th, 1983. Riggins, who played sparingly in the last 2 weeks because of a sore thigh, gained 119 yards in 25 carries against the NFC's top-ranked defense against the rush.
Next up, the divisional playoffs against the Vikings.
Here comes Riggins, and there goes Riggins. Another first down. Look at him ramble. Riggins again, slanting left. Look at him go again.
We saw the great balance of Riggins. You know, one of the things they told us about him yesterday, Hank, you give another running back the ball 25 times during the game, he won't play for 2 weeks. You give it to Riggins 30 times, and he'll play every week. Riggins. And touchdown. Charlie Brown goes in motion. This is when they like to give it to Riggins and hang on to the ball. Riggins goes outside, cuts it up, gets some yards, and this is when the Redskins can kill you, man. They can just keep that clock running and running and running. Another nickel in John Riggins and watch him run.
Boy, he's murder, isn't he? Looks like they put a diamond in that time, Jack.
The fans are going wacky here as Willie Teal finally made the tackle on Riggins. The ball is put down on the Viking 43-yard line after a 29-yard run by Big John.
I think it was Minnesota where late in the game, I remember that. I think he rushed for like 170 yards or something, and I took him out with about 4 minutes or something to go, and then he starts walking off. The crowd's cheering like mad, and he just stopped, and he took a bow in all 4 directions and walked off. And so, it's great to see an athlete like that has that kind of a feeling for the fans and big games and what it meant. And it was, you could tell he was one of those guys that was going to produce.
I will tell you, and I just got goosebumps thinking about it. There's the people up in the stands. I felt completely different on Sunday morning before a game, or when I went out to warm up and all. All of a sudden I was light, I was fast, I was quick, I was a lot of things. I was nothing like that during the week. And I think, and I don't know, we'd have to get some psychologists to tell us, but I got to believe some people, and I may be one of them, that when you put them in a certain situation and there's a lot on the line, or they perceive there's a lot on the line, their ability to tap into their adrenaline is greater than other people. And I think that might have been the case with me, because and as the playoffs went on, I think it just, it kept feeding into that. It was I'm not quite sure how to describe it, other than it was something that you wanted, and because you'd said, give me the ball, you wanted to be good. And ultimately, I didn't want to disappoint the people, because, they felt it. You could feel their passion, and you wanted to make sure that you gave them what they wanted.
In the NFC Championship, Washington faces Dallas.
It just seems to be the natural instinct of hogs that when they see a Dallas Cowboys jersey, they want to tear it apart.
Riggins goes on to rush for 140 yards on 36 carries.
Here comes Riggins, and there goes Riggins. Another first down. Look at him ramble. Brown in motion. Riggins again. Slanting left. Look at him go again.
Defensive tackle Darrell Grant intercepts a pass intended for Tony Dorsett and returns it for a touchdown.
Makes to Dorsett. Hit the ball well. Set up a screen. Batted in the air. Picked off by Darrell Grant. Touchdown, Washington Redskins. I don't believe it. Unbelievable. Oh, what a play. Dexter Manley tipped the pass. Darrell Grant got the interception. And now the stadium shakes.
One of the things that stands out to me in those first 2 years, I used to tell our team that we're going to play the game the way it was supposed to be played. We're not going to hit people out of bounds. We're not going to hit the quarterback low. We're going to abide by the principles of the game. And then the smart part of football is kind of portrayed in giveaway takeaway ratio. And so if you're giving it away, that means you're fumbling, throwing interceptions, okay? That's not smart, okay? So when you do that, that's a giveaway. But then the other part of being smart is takeaway. That means you're getting fumbles, you're getting interceptions, okay? And you're taking the ball away.
Tough and smart play gives Washington the 31-17 win over Dallas. This team is going to Super Bowl XVII.
They know how to celebrate. Listen to this crowd.
It is going to be a wild scene for a long time.
Washington's opponent in the big game, the Miami Dolphins.
Of course, we were the underdogs, and you have such great respect for Coach Shula and the Dolphins. You know, the fact that they had such a record and everything. We were the true underdogs.
Led by future Hall of Fame coach Don Shula.
2 victories short of 200 in the regular season, several Super Bowls, of course, an undefeated season.
Quarterback David Woodley.
David Woodley, through the last 3 games, has been hitting 75% of his passes. He's doing it again today. Oh, Woodley's a good runner. He throws. Touchdown, Dolphins.
Anchored on defense by the Killer Bees.
Betters, Bo Camper, Baumhauer, Brzezinski, Blackwood Brothers, Glenn and Lyle, Brown, Brophy, Charlie Bowser. We swarm a lot. They flew around. They were all over the field. They hit people.
The Jet quarterback suffered the stings and arrows of the Killer Bees.
Miami was a big team, and we had an organization that had really, under Coach Gibbs, had really flourished. We felt good about ourselves, and we went into that Super Bowl knowing that Miami was a tough team. They had drafted a lot of good players that year, but we knew we had a defense that could play with any offense, and our offense really was beginning to gel, so we had a lot of confidence going into that game.
And Super Bowl XVII underway.
Well, it was back and forth.
Step along to 50, could go all the way. 40, 25, 15, and Miami has a touchdown.
We talked about the fact that the Redskins wanted to make Woodley throw the ball deep. They wanted to force him to throw deep. And here he is, responding very successfully to Jimmy Cephalo on downfield for the touchdown.
2nd and 1, Woodley.
Fumble. Redskins have a shot at it. If it stays in bounds, did it? Yes. Washington's ball at the 46-yard line. Dexter Manley made the hit. Dave Butts recovered it.
And in the first quarter, the Redskins had the ball twice as long as Miami, but trailed 7-0.
My job wasn't to look at the scoreboard. You know, that was Joe's job, Joe Gibbs' job. That's not for me. What I was paid to do was to go out on that football field, and when that ball was in play, to do exactly whatever it was, whether I was carrying the ball or I had somebody to block, to carry that out.
It was the Killer Bees against Riggo and the Hogs. They were a very, very good defense.
And the biggest name, as they'll get the ball first, number 44, John Riggins. They've been talking about him all week long, Merlin.
Dick, we've talked all week about the importance of Riggins to this offense. And certainly, the question will be answered early. Can Miami's Killer Bees stop John Riggins?
Theismann has with him John Riggins. Sometimes we'll see Joe Washington pass situations. The receivers, Garrett, only 1 catch during the year, and brilliant in the playoffs. Brown
a Pro Bowler. The tight end is Warren. We'll see Rick Walker as well at tight end. Those are the Hogs, the big offensive linemen. Jacoby and Sark at tackle. The guards are Grimm and May, and Bostic the center.
We were kind of keeping it close and playing hard.
And Theismann to throw to Garrett. Touchdown! Now here's the fun bunch and their touchdown celebration.
And a brilliant finesse pass by number 7, Joe Theismann, as we watch the extra point cleanly through the uprights.
Right towards the end of the first half, and they return a touchdown. They get a kickoff for a touchdown. So it's kind of like you score, and then you get the stab right in the back there.
Colton Walker, the deep man for Miami. He had a 42-yard kickoff return the last time. From the 2. 20, he's in the open again. 30, 40, he's going to go all the way for a touchdown. 98 yards, Colton Walker.
Joe said, if we can keep this game close, if we can keep it within 3-7 points, we can keep this a close game, we'll win this football game because we'll wear them down. They were small and fast in relative size to what we were up front. He said, we'll just pound them into submission.
John Riggins, of course, dominant factor in the first half, and one of the reasons that he is such a dominant runner is that he makes a lot of yardage after the hit. Now, Riggins will find openings in the line, but his tremendous strength comes from what happens after he makes the first hit. Look at it right there. Over the top of 2 players, literally gets an extra 2.5, 3 yards after the initial contact. Riggins, the kind of runner that rarely ends up going backwards. A second shot. These from earlier action in the first half. You'll see Riggins spotting the hole. Great vision. Pulling right through the tackle of 58 Beaucamper over the top of 2 more men. That's the kind of running that brought Washington to this Super Bowl. We'll see if Riggins can continue it here in the second half.
Our defense stepped up and shut them down a little bit, and then we just kept grinding it out.
Richie Pettibone has certainly done a great job with this Redskin defense. It's very aggressive, and when you look at all the changes he has made and all the new people that have been put into that defense, they have had a year that has to go down in the record books, Dick.
They only have 17 men back from the team 2 years ago. Totally rebuilt it under Bobby Bethard, the general manager.
A Mark Mosley field goal gets Washington within 4 points in the third quarter.
An attempt by Mosley. It is good. 8 minutes and 9 seconds left in the third quarter. The score is now Miami 17, the Redskins 13.
Our guys were after it. Very close, hard-fought game.
Then, neither team can get on the scoreboard, trading interceptions.
Woodley to Cepolo. Intercepted by the Redskins. Murphy at the 5-yard line. Here's a flea flicker. Theismann going deep for Garrett. Intercepted right at the goal line by Lyle Blackwood. Now they'll say they're going to mark it at the 1-yard line. Well, you couldn't get a better kick than that. But Blackwood picks off the second Theismann pass. And for the Dolphins, who led the league in interceptions this year, they've got now some 14 interceptions in the playoffs.
But the defenses are holding strong. Minutes go by. Is Miami going to just try to hold on? Can Washington find that next gear?
We thought as an offensive line that, now we can handle these guys, smash mouth, and just go at them one-on-one and play hard-nosed football and give Riggo the ball, and he can do a lot of damage.
It's the fourth quarter, and Washington knows now it's really getting to crunch time. The Burgundy and Gold haven't been able to get a lead all game.
Redskins, instead of starting at the 36 of Miami after the 10-yard penalty, will begin from their own 48. They trail by 4, Merlin Olsen.
Second drive of the quarter for Washington. Riggins runs for 7 on first down.
Riggins, meanwhile, is approaching the 100-yard mark, and he's going to be close with that run to the Miami 45-yard line.
Second down.
Riggins again gets the call. So 4 consecutive games of these playoffs. He's run for 119, 185, 140, and Riggins over 100 yards again today. No one's ever done that.
Third down. Running back Clarence Harmon comes in.
They're down and 2. Riggins out, Harmon in. They give it to Harmon, and he slams forward. Second effort. That's going to be close to a first down.
Close, but not enough.
I don't believe they're going to measure. They're simply going to say it's going to be a fourth down.
Okay, we got 4th and 1. It's too far for Mosley to kick it. So the best chance is run the ball, and then we possibly give up field position, which is crucial, you know.
And they'll put in the big man as Coach Joe Gibbs elects to gamble here.
There's a lot that goes into 4th and 1 calls. I mean, there's a lot. So my first thoughts are always this when I was coaching. I'm never going to change momentum. In other words, had we been up 4 points and we're sitting there where we were, very good chance I would have punted the football. Because I'm not going to, if we have momentum and we have the lead, that's going to really figure into a call. Sometimes I go against that, but not very often. Well, in this case, we didn't have momentum. We're down by 4 points. Okay, it's 10 minutes to go in the game. Then it's what play do I think I have that I have great confidence in and going against their defense? Is there a weakness on their defense where I think we are just stronger? In this case, we got Russ Grimm, Joe Jacoby, and Donnie Warren. And going against their right side of their defensive line. And so I felt like we had, superior strength and force with that group. And then you got Riggins. And even at that point, we're down 4 points. If we don't get this, then they're going to have a great chance to be in great field position, already up 4. So it's huge.
So it's 4th and 1. What are you going to do? You're going to run over the left side of the line. Everybody in the world's got to know that one. That's Jacoby and Grimm.
Obviously, we knew Joe was going to go for it. And then the play comes in, and we knew it was going to be 70 chip, which was our stellar play to the left side.
Well, that was our big play. I think everybody in the stadium, including the Miami, knew that was the play we were getting ready to run.
I remember I called a left tight wing fake zoom 70 chip. And after I called that and it was signaled in, I think I went straight to my knees, because there's those times as a coach, really, where your life kind of passes before your eyes, because I know this is huge.
Wansley, 39, comes in to block. 3 tight ends in the game. Walker, Didier, Warren. The power back, Riggins. Got enough horses to pull a wagon in there.
A lot of people don't know this part of it, but I had strained my ligament in my ankle on a catch earlier in the game, and I was supposed to go to the side of the call, and I guess right now I'm glad I didn't. Because I was supposed to go to the side of the call, but because I messed my ankle up, they moved me to the right side, and they had Doc on the left side, and they brought Clint Didier in to do some motion stuff.
Donnie Warren gets hurt the play before or something, and so Didier comes in the game, and the PA announcers goes, now into the game, number 86, Clint Didier.
In the huddle, they brought Dids in, and Dids is the first time that he was doing that job, and he got in and he was in the huddle, and Russ said he was just kind of looking around like a starstruck little dude.
And he's like in a huddle and he's looking around smiling.
Well, Clint is like, he's taking it in. He's like, ooh, this is pretty cool.
I remember Russ saying this. He goes, Dids, you screw this up, I'm going to kill you.
And I looked over and I said, hey, Dids, I said, you better not screw this up. Because he was the one that did the fake motion. And then so he pulled the helmet back down. He did his job.
Ball is at the 42 of Miami, so this could be a play they talk about during the offseason. If Miami stops the Redskins, they've forsaken the punt to try to pin Miami deep. They're going for the first down. And the Dolphins call timeout.
He called timeout, so there was a little bit of a break there. But I didn't really think much about it. It was just, just routine, go get the first down and not look back.
Like a couple of expectant fathers, Shula pacing the sidelines, Gibbs irritated.
There's Bill Arnsparger. Of course, he's made his defensive call. Let's see who'll win this battle of strategy.
Clint Didier goes to the right.
Next time anybody watch this play, watch Clint Didier because he does such a great job on this fake.
McNeil, the corner, actually slipped a little bit when we had the fake motion inside and back.
Didier's movement also gives running back Otis Wansley a key window.
Typically, I supposed to go around to get the linebacker, but this particular play, I dove over the line, which is something he didn't do, but I went to get him instead of him coming getting me.
He jumped over and actually hit a guy, and his legs that he was jumping over, the guy's legs, Otis Wansley actually kept him from getting out, so he blocked two guys at once.
Riggins bursts through the hole.
He breaks through in the secondary. He's one-on-one with the defensive back. There's no chance.
McNeil had slipped, so he was a step behind John. And he hits him on the thigh, and it looked like a hot knife going through butter. He just slid down his leg.
Yeah, the field is crowned. It's kind of hard to see. I just saw him initially hit the hole there, and I knew we had a chance to get the first down.
When he gets in the open field, John doesn't look fast. In the open field, he's fast because he doesn't do all that wiggling and stuff like that, but straight line speed, I know one time he held the Kansas record for 100 meters. I mean, don't even try to hit him low. I mean, you get knocked out. When he broke it and headed down the sideline, I knew he was going to make it.
We were so excited. I just remember on the sideline how exciting it was when he busted that runoff of the left side over there. And when he was going down the sideline, our whole bench was running with him on the sidelines.
Riggins. He's going to go all the way, unless Blackwood can catch him, and he can.
Riggins for 43 yards to give Washington a 20-17 lead.
It was everybody basically doing their jobs, and when it was at the time that was needed most.
For the next 10 minutes, Washington now up by 3. Every player in the burgundy and gold hunkers down and does their job.
The Redskins have dominated the second half, and they have held Miami's offense to only 30 yards.
We was getting to beat them up pretty good, and we had some more time on the clock, and we just started running the football. And at that particular time, the Hog was just eating them alive.
Our offensive line was so powerful we wore them down in the fourth quarter.
A Charlie Brown touchdown with 2 minutes left in the game puts a nail in the coffin. Miami doesn't have an answer.
Hail to the Redskins. Braves on the warpath. Victory for old DC.
For his then record 38 carries for 166 yards, John Riggins is named Super Bowl MVP.
Games, even big ones, come and go. Scores are forgotten. Somehow you always associate, once that name is in print, a performance indelible. John Riggins will be remembered in Super Bowl history for his remarkable performance today.
Coach Ronald Reagan.
Yes, sir, Mr. Reagan.
Listen, I just want to say congratulations to you and the team of yours. Last week when I was trying to be heard, and I know you couldn't hear me.
I can hear you fine now.
Well, I was just asking if maybe now that the season's over, if you could help me up on Capitol Hill with some of the congressmen.
Yes, sir. We're going to come back and try and help you put together the budget and a few other things.
I was thinking of asking Riggins if they changed the spelling of his name a little bit so that it had an EA in it. But now this week, would he mind if I changed my spelling so that it had an I and a couple of G's in it?
I don't think you'd mind that at all, Mr. President. I don't think you'd mind that at all.
It was just great, and all of us back here are mighty thrilled and excited.
Yes, sir. It's a big day for us. All of the Washington fans sharing this. Each one of them has a little part of this trophy.
Well, fellas, really, you really earned it, and it was thrilling to watch, and God bless all of you, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you.
You bet.
Yes.
Oh, it was unreal. It's a dream come true. I remember George Michael, God rest his soul. George had a thing called the Sports Machine. And I remember sitting at about the 50-yard line. The stadium's empty, maybe a few people cleaning up or something. And behind us is the scoreboard, 27-17. And I just sat there and I looked up and I thought, wow, I mean, I get goosebumps just thinking about it right now. The incredible emotion, as much as you invest for that one moment. I would imagine that a lot of people that compete in the Olympics feel pretty much the same way, because it's that one moment when you have an opportunity to accomplish, first of all, a dream, and secondly, to be able to do something for us as a group. In the Olympics, a lot of it's done, as an individual, but then you have the team competition. But for us, it was that one moment in time that Whitney Houston sings about. And it was our one moment in time. And it was, you get in the locker room and everybody's, jumping around and pouring champagne and, screaming and yelling and just happy as could be.
I mean, the locker room was built for maybe 30 people, and we had counting all the reporters and cameramen in there after the game, you couldn't even move. And then Riggo's in the back room talking to the president of the United States and telling them that he's the president now. And I mean, it was unbelievable. It took me, I bet you it was an hour and a half before I left that locker room. Because you go in and just sit down and don't even take some of your pads off yet and just soak up all the stuff that's going on. You got all the interviews and stuff, cameramen, everybody else in there, and it's it's a great feeling. Those are the things you remember.
World champions. The first Lombardi trophy for the franchise. The glory, the significance of that Super Bowl XVII win. Fans feel it still. Players, coaches, it's all right there in their minds. And the play that continues to emerge, no matter the years gone by, is that 4th and 1. It is widely considered the greatest single play in Washington history.
First Super Bowl win, been to the Super Bowl, the Redskins had, but to get a win, I think it was just a key moment in time. There are key plays. And so you never know where they're going to come up in big time sports. But this one did come up at this particular time.
We won other Super Bowls, but there's no other play like it. And you go in the history of the Super Bowl, it's one of the greatest plays in all the Super Bowls when they've done those votes on those kinds of things. So it's that kind of a play that will live, pardon the expression, in infamy in Washington football history. It's a signature play everybody remembers. And those who saw it, they remember where they were at the time of the play. That was it. If he got tackled on the one, maybe we don't remember it.
It was the clutchness.
It was almost like you wrote a script in many ways. It wasn't like, first down and there's a 20-yard pass in the end zone, touchdown, you go ahead. It was like, it's like you can hear the music building for that denouement that's about to come.
It was a turning point.
It really put the Redskins on the map as far as a reliable team, because it was every year after that we were a team to be reckoned with. It was just a huge era for the Washington Redskins organization. We for the next 10, 11, 12 years, we went to the playoffs almost every year. We won, went to 4 Super Bowls and won 3 of them. So it was the start of an era in Washington that they've never forgotten, and I don't think they ever will.
I was kind of numb, tell you the truth. Numb because I'm not saying I didn't know what had happened, but the jubilation hadn't really hit me. We go into the locker room after the game, and I was a notoriously slow dresser. And the equipment manager comes over and says, "Come on, Reagan, let's go. Nice getting away on this." And I went, "Oh, okay." And so I hurried up and got dressed. So I walk out of the locker room, sitting there at the Rose Bowl, and the lights are still on in the stadium, and all the cleanup crews up in the stands, and they're cleaning up the popcorn, the boxes, and the cups, and all this stuff. The sun has now sunk into the Pacific, so it's dark, and I'm walking across the field. And the scoreboard was still lit up. And I look up at that scoreboard and it says Washington 27, Miami 17. And that's when it hit me. I went, damn. we are world champions.
Hail Tales was created by me, Hannah Lichtenstein, senior brand and content writer for the Washington Commanders. It is produced and edited by Jason Johnson. Additional editing by Nick Lianos. Additional voiceover help by Bram Weinstein. Executive producers are Ryan Yoakum and Kevin Klein. Graphics designed by Zach Osborne. John Riggins is back in Washington. Catch him during the 2026 preseason games as a color analyst on Command Center podcasts and more. Thank you to our guests for their contributions, and thank you for listening.